Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest podcast slash vlog with Lee Rodne from LTR Pharma. The ticker is LTP. It's an amazing story. Men will be very interested in this story, and so will their partners. Um, Now, tell us, just going out there, 5 minutes, and everything's up and running for 1 hour. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We think it'll last, up to 4 to 5 hours, but certainly our product, our nasal spray product, SPONTAN, it gives the ability to work within 5 minutes, straight up into the nasal cavities, right into the bloodstream. So we have the fastest treatment for erectile dysfunction by far in the world.
So, your erectile dysfunction issue, let's call
Yeah.
it that, will be resolved in 5 minutes, and for how long?
Yeah, so our product is designed to be on-demand product, so it's designed to work on demand, so within that 5 minutes, and have a duration of about 4 to 6 hours. So it can last up to 4 to 6 hours, and that's similar to Viagra in terms of the lasting effect. But ours works much faster. So ours works within 5 to 10 minutes, whereas Viagra typically takes up to an hour or longer to work.
4 to 6 hours. Wow,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, cancel your weekend plans. That's aggressive. So now the latest news with your product with Spontan is early access. Tell us what that actually means.
Yeah, so early access is a great program here in Australia. It gives doctors the ability to prescribe a product before it's fully approved. So it gives access before a full commercial launch of a product. So it's really beneficial for us because we did a very positive study here in Sydney just a few months ago, showing that we're up to 500 times faster than products like Viagra. We can work up to 500 times faster. That was in a controlled environment, and in a clinical study that the FDA and TGA recognized that data because it's in a very controlled environment. The early access program gives doctors the ability to prescribe here in Australia, and that's really important for us because it gives us access to real world data. So this is, for instance, Viagra is not really effective when you have food in your stomach. So you go on lunch or dinner and have a good meal. Viagra is not going to be effective. Whereas our product, we can show it doesn't really matter if you got food in your stomach. If you enjoyed a good steak dinner or a few drinks, you can use our product and don't worry about it because we're not digested through the stomach or the liver. So this early access program is giving some key doctors initially to prescribe, getting real world data for us. That real world data is showing the benefit of our product for erectile dysfunction and a number of different areas. And that data is going to be published in peer-reviewed publications, and we're going to be able to use that data for our regulatory meetings with the FDA and TJ, and as well as our partnering and licensing discussions that are ongoing. So it's a very valuable thing for us, and it's importantly, it's great that Australian men get to be the first in the world to be prescribed a Spontan, and it's the world's first nasal spray product that's come to market. So it's great.
Well, Lee, I'm a man of science. So if you want to give me a sample, let me know. I'm more than willing to partake. So now that you've got early access, that you've got sales now, is that correct?
Yeah, so we got sales, but again, the main mission right now is to get that clinical data, that real world clinical data, get it captured, to get it published, to support our regulatory full approval process. But we're going to have some pretty exciting things coming up over the coming few quarters that all investors and shareholders will be interested to follow. So most of these drugs, like the Viagras of the world, are starting to be prescribed online. And so it's a really easy thing to do, to go online and get diagnosed and get a prescription for like a Viagra. So we're going to be starting to build those building blocks to get our product to be able to sold online through a men's websites, and we expect that over the coming quarters, so early 2025. So people men in Australia are going to be able to access our product online.
So there's obviously, from the sound of things, a speed and time benefit of using Spontaneous as opposed to Viagra.
Yeah.
And waiting 60 minutes or half an hour for it to work downstairs, everyone could get in an argument, and then what do you do? But so 5 minutes
That's
or
right.
10 minutes is much beneficial there. Outside of the speed, is there a price difference benefit? Is it cheaper for me to get Spontane or Viagra?
Well, we believe it. We believe it is because it's when Viagra doesn't work all the time, and pills, tablets, they don't always work. So they're very variable for men with their results. So you take a Viagra, again, it depends on what's in your stomach. You might miss the time, as you said. You might get into a fight with your partner, or she's not, or he or is not interested at the time. Your partner's not interested at the time, but you've taken a Viagra, so it's wasted money, right? And so our product you use
And
on
you need a cold
demand.
shower.
That's right.
Then what do you do?
But our product is used on demand and when you need it, and so that money is not wasted. And so we think it's a very cost effective treatment for erectile dysfunction. Not only the world's fastest, but very cost effective because we're very consistent. You take our product, you're gonna get a consistent dose and a consistent result versus the tablets are very inconsistent when you take them because everyone's digestive systems are a bit different. Those tablets have to go through the stomach and the liver before it enters the bloodstream, and that's it's very variable, to work. And up to 50% of men stop taking Viagra and those pills in the first year. So a lot of guys get frustrated when they spend money on those tablets and it doesn't work for them or it doesn't work in the time desired.
So now that you've got early access, does that make FDA approval easier? What's the process now?
Yeah, there's no question. It's a big endorsement for the regulatory agencies like the FDA that we're able to be prescribed in our home market in Australia. So it's a major benefit for us. And the data again. I want to focus on the medical data so a little bit because this is what this early access is providing. So we'll take very serious erectile dysfunction patients, so guys that have gone through prostate cancer, have had their prostates removed, for instance. The tablets aren't really effective for those individuals, and I don't want to go into a lot of details around it, but they have to basically inject a drug into their penis before they have sexual activity, and it's not a very pleasant outcome for those individuals. But we're able through the early access program, work with those patients, post prostate cancer to show that our product has a benefit for them. Uh, and we're getting great data from our early access program, and we're gonna be able to show the FDA, for instance, and the regulatory agencies that we are really one of the few products that can work in those very serious erectile dysfunction segments. So particularly post cancer and some of those more serious ED effects. So we're not only we'll be able to target the recreational and more mild cases of erectile dysfunction where speed is very important for men to be able to have an on-demand product that works within 5 to 10 minutes. But we're also going to be showing the regulatory agencies that we work on those serious, more moderate or and serious conditions that no other really treatment does.
But given that you've got the superior product in Spontane, why hasn't Big Pharma created their own version of it in this
Yeah,
form?
they've tried. And our researchers have been working on this technology for about 10 years and out of California. And But the big pharma has tried. They've had some patents around other products like a Viagra nasal spray, but they let those patents lapse because they couldn't get it to work. So our IP is around these drugs. They're called PD5 drugs, so like Viagra, and there's four drugs like Viagra in that class of drug. But the real issue with those drugs is that when they get into liquid form, they tend to crystallize, so like sugar, and they become hardened material that doesn't spray through the nasal spray very well. So our IP is around keeping these PD5 drugs soluble so that they don't crystallize, they don't become hard material, and you have that enhanced absorption through the nasal cavities. And we are the only company in the world with that IP. And so I think it's a very high value opportunity for investors and for shareholders, that want to have exposure to the only nasal spray for treating erectile dysfunction in the world.
So, outside of FDA approval, which will be huge once, and hopefully that's achieved soon, what else do shareholders have to look forward to?
Well, first off, I just want to talk about the addressable market. Then it's and what the end
Please.
game, for that. And the addressable market is huge. And you take in the U.S. market with FDA approval, what that represents to us. So it represents to access to 30 million men with erectile dysfunction, and those are people that identify with erectile dysfunction. So we think that market is a lot higher than 30 million men because not all men talk about it or want to be described with that condition. But so 30 million men identified in the U.S. At least in the U.S. With erectile dysfunction, and we know that 50% of men stop taking Viagra and Cialis and those types of products, those types of tablets in the first year, because of the time issue that it takes to affect and some other issues around those tablets. So we know that we're going to get used in the U.S. market because those guys, stop taking the lead products, those tablets, and they go on to try other products. So if we take 1 out of 10 men in the U.S., that's a 400 million U.S. revenue business for us, and that's just 1 out of 10. So we think that's very conservative numbers. So we usually see that revenue being considerably higher than that level, because again, 50% of men stop purchasing this gold standard products today. So that's that addressable market. You don't get access to that addressable market very, with too many products, and so it's a very large prize upon FDA approval for us to get access to that 30 million men, that we're pretty confident that will try our product, and likewise, similar amounts in Europe and Asia, and the rest of the world.
So, going back to that FDA approval, I know you can't say too much, but are we talking 6 months, 1 year?
Yeah, so we expect to be meeting with the FDA in the first quarter of 25 now, so that's just right around the corner now, and then at that point we expect to be able to file a new drug application towards the end of 2025. So pretty quick access to that U.S. market. So it's right around the corner in our viewpoint that to get to that very large addressable market, and yeah, so late 2025 into 2026 is we expect to get that into that market.
Lee, this show is not investment advice. Speak to your advisors, but this looks very interesting. The share price has reflected that. There's plenty of potential upside. It has run very hard, and if you guys get at that FDA approval, there's definitely a huge re-rate opportunity there. So, Lee, thanks for your time, and for the benefit of science, feel free to send me a product.
Will do. All right. Thanks, John.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks.